What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here to break down the NFL Thursday Night Football slate. Indianapolis Colts, Tennessee Titans. We got a big divisional game. One team that's 6-2 and the other one that's 5-3. So it's actually a really good game. Usually we get these trash Thursday night games, and like last night the trash Monday night game that actually ended on a game-winning field goal. It's not the worst game in the world, but this is actually going to be a really good game. We're going to get into all of that, but before we do, if you're new here, make sure to leave a like on that video, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment, turn on notification bell. All this stuff really helps me grow. It takes like 10 seconds of your time and it's free, so be sure to hit that like and that subscribe, especially that subscribe button. That really helps me out the most. Thank you guys so much. This is the only sport going on right now, but like, look, college basketball starts in like 3 weeks. And I'm going to be making videos for that. I know not a ton of people play DFS college basketball, but if you're into it, it's a sport that not a ton of like professionals play. So you can, if you pay attention to the right players and stuff, you will make some good money in that, because not a lot of people really know what they're doing over there. And then NBA starts in around Christmas time, and I'll be doing stuff for that as well. And of course NASCAR again in February. Now I know that's a while away, but still gotta be advertising what I'm doing. So that's really all I got on that. If you want to get more of my content, you can subscribe to my Patreon in the link below. I'll put the link below in the description. It's articles for every single showdown slate. You're going to get articles for every single position, along with rankings for cash and GPPs. All my injury notes. You're going to know what to do on Sunday morning, and you will be prepared. All that stuff will help you guys out in DFS. Let's get into the players. Ryan Tannehill, Philip Rivers are the two quarterbacks on this slate that we got to be interested in, unless one of them gets hurt. But like, can't really predict that. Ryan Tannehill going up against the Indianapolis Colts, who have been a very good defense on the year. They've allowed only the 31st most points to opposing quarterbacks so far this year. The Titans still are favored in this game. The line on this game is set at 49. Pretty decently high total game. It's just a mid-pack game nowadays. Like a few years ago, wow, that would have been a high total game. But like now this year, that's just kind of a middle of the pack game. So we should see a good bit of scoring. I do like Ryan Tannehill. He is the most expensive player on Draftkings, so I'm probably only going to want him in my flex spot. I don't think he's really great as a captain option, but definitely do like him as a flex. Same thing with Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers just doesn't ever put up a ton of fantasy points. We know he's not getting over 30. He'll probably get somewhere between 17 and 27 fantasy points. So that's going to be a good flex option for me as well. The Tennessee Titans have been a softer defense, allowing only the 10th most points to opposing quarterbacks, although they have had some upgrades in the defense in the last few weeks, adding someone like Desmond King, getting rid of someone like, Vic Beasley. Like, they've had some upgrades. Their defense, I think, is going to look a little bit better as the season continues to go on. I mean, they looked good against Chicago. That is Chicago. But I think this defense is not as bad as people as it has been in the beginning of the year. There's some upgrades that are going to make changes to it. So Philip Rivers, a good flex option, but I would not want to go there at captain. Next, we'll move over to the running backs, where I'm going to be talking about the triple back system in Indianapolis of Nyheim Hines, Jonathan Taylor, and Jordan Wilkins, and then of course King Derrick Henry, the absolute GOAT, the best running back in the league. That's not true, but I love Derrick Henry. Nyheim Hines, Jonathan Taylor, Jordan Wilkins. All right, this is just a disaster of a backfield, honestly. It looked like Jonathan Taylor, after week 1 when Marlon Mack got hurt, was about to take over the backfield for the rest of the year, but he has not been showing he has just not really been that good. Like, I mean, he's just not that good of a running back. He looked good in the first drive against Baltimore last week, then he fumbled, and I don't think he played or snapped for the rest of the game. At least, I mean, he had like one rush attempt, I think, the rest of the game for Jonathan Taylor, so that was unfortunate for any Jonathan Taylor fantasy owners. I had him on my bench, but he still outscored Derrick Henry, so that's okay. Jonathan Taylor, the Tennessee Titans defense, it's not a good rush defense. The Colts are not favored in this game, but it should be a pretty close game. Like, I think it's a 2-point spread right now, so it's not really anything too negative of a game script to really worry about here. Jonathan Taylor is definitely someone that I'm interested in. He is expensive, but like, he's still the guy, I think, back here. I think they still want to trust him. If you go look at red zone carries, he does lead the team in red zone carries in 22 and inside of 5 carries at 8 compared to the 2 and 1. So he is getting a high upside carries. Only one of those guys is an end zone target. They're running the ball once they get into the end zone, or the red zone and end zone areas. So you go look at points per touchdown. Nyheim Hines definitely is the most efficient of all of them, averaging 1.39, but Jordan Wilkins is so inefficient. But Jordan Wilkins is pretty cheap, so he's definitely got some interest for me. When you go look at attempts per game, Nyheim Hines is only averaging 3 attempts on the ground, with Jonathan Taylor averaging 13.8 and Jordan Wilkins averaging 8.5. I will note Jonathan Taylor in the last 2 weeks, only 11 and 6, but I don't think that 6 is going to happen again on Thursday Night Football. I think they just didn't like that he fumbled the ball. He's probably going to get another shot early. If he fumbles again, yeah, we might be screwed. But Jonathan Taylor is still, like, the guy, I think, back there. When you go look at targets, Nyheim Hines, though, averaging 3.85 targets per game. Jonathan Taylor only 2.14, and Jordan Wilkins gets like no usage in the passing game. Average touches per game overall, Nyheim Hines is averaging 7.57, Jonathan Taylor 16, and Jordan Wilkins 9.43. Look, I think I'm interested in Taylor because I think he's the best back and he has the most likely. He's most likely one to like put up a lot of actual real points. Nyheim Hines has upside because of the type of player he is, the type of looks he gets. He is efficient, but he just doesn't have a lot of usage. And at $6,200 as a flex play, that feels a little bit expensive. I don't hate it, but I think there's better options you can get to. Jordan Wilkins is pretty cheap, and he's definitely someone I'm interested in. I'm not going to play Jordan Wilkins and Jonathan Taylor in a lineup together. That is dumb in my opinion. I think Nyheim Hines and one of the running backs is okay because Nyheim Hines is basically a wide receiver, but Jordan Wilkins and Taylor in a lineup together is not an option for me. I would set a rule to make sure you do not put both of them in your lineup, but they are both fine options. It is a good matchup against this Tennessee run defense. So I think they're both fine. Then, of course, Derrick Henry, yeah, he's in play. He's one of my favorite captain plays. Oh, I think Jonathan Taylor's an okay captain play. Probably not my favorite spot to go to, but he's definitely a fine captain option. Derrick Henry, this is not a good matchup for him. The Indianapolis Colts are a good defense. They've allowed 29th most points to opposing running backs in the league, so that's the third worst defense to attack, or fourth worst defense to attack for opposing running backs. They are favored in this game, a home favored running back for Derrick Henry. He does have 41 red zone carries and 12 inside of 5 carries. I'm pretty sure he leads the league in both those stats. I think he might be second in inside of 5 carries, but he does lead the league in red zone carries, just getting all the high upside carries. When you look at overall usage, he's averaging 22.75 carries per game, although I will note those first 3 weeks where he had 31, 25, and 26, it's come down to somewhere between like 18 and 22, but that's still a lot of usage for Derrick Henry. Definitely not going to take anything away from that. When you go look at targets, he's averaging 2.25 targets per game to end up with 25 touches per game on average. So Derrick Henry's just a usage monster. He's definitely a captain play. He's not my favorite captain of the day. We'll get into that in the wide receivers, but I think he's my second favorite captain play so far on this slate. Really like going there. I mean, we just know what he's going to do. We just know the usage he's going to have. So Derrick Henry, definitely someone I have a lot of interest in. Go look at the wide receivers, where you have the disaster of the wide receivers of the Indianapolis Colts. T.Y. Hilton's expected to be back this week after missing Sunday, so that's good for the Colts, I guess, even though he's just bad. But Zach Pascal and Michael Pittman Jr. are the 2 other starters. Marcus Johnson has been getting a lot of run, but I think now that Michael Pittman Jr. is back and T.Y. Hilton is back, we don't see Marcus Johnson getting a ton of run, and he's a little bit too expensive for me to really want to get there. I don't hate him, but I'd rather get to some of these other guys. T.Y. Hilton, or the Indianapolis Colts wide receivers, going up against a secondary for the Tennessee Titans that's allowed the 6th most points to opposing wide receivers so far this year. But like I said, they have definitely had an upgrade. Jonathan Joseph got cut. Breon Brocker stepped up, and he's looked pretty good for him. Desmond King came in, they traded for Desmond King. He came in. He's a slot guy. He's going to be on Zach Pascal. He's one of the best slot corners in the league over the past 4 years. He's been very good this year. So that's going to be a tougher matchup as you see Zach Pascal's matchup there. T.Y. Hilton's going to get Malcolm Butler. That's actually probably the best one in the entire game for the Indianapolis Colts. But like, do we really want to play T.Y. Hilton? I mean, I'm going to play some of him because it's a showdown. You're going to have to get him. He's averaging 9 targets in the red zone, or I'm sorry, not averaging. He has 9 targets in the red zone on the year. Zach Pascal's 11. Michael Pittman only has 3, but Michael Pittman's only played 4 games. T.Y. Hilton, though, only 1 end zone target to Zach Pascal's 5. I do like that. I think that's definitely something we could utilize because he is getting used in the end zone, high upside targets. When you go look at the average, T.Y. Hilton's averaging 5.57 targets per game, Pascal's averaging 5, and Pittman's averaging 4.75. So not one of these guys is really just breaking away from the pack. Michael Pittman's a very good wide receiver, though. Let me point that out there to you. He is a rookie. In the games that he has played full strength, look, 7 targets. Now I know T.Y. Hilton wasn't there, but still 6. They like Michael Pittman. He really might be the number 1 wide receiver on this entire team. So I definitely like going to Michael Pittman Jr. a lot. He's one of my favorite plays on the slate overall, not too expensive. T.Y. Hilton's okay. Zach Pascal's fine, but I do like Michael Pittman Jr. a lot. We'll go to the Tennessee Titans, where my favorite captain play is going to be A.J. Brown. This guy's a monster, man. I mean, he's just an absolute stud. Him and DK Metcalf are the 2 best wide receivers in that draft class. They're going to be 2 of the best wide receivers in the league over the next 10 years. These guys are just insane. A.J. Brown, yard after contact. He's a yak monster. You cannot tackle that guy. He gets after contact. My man still keeps going. It just seems like every single play, every time he catches the ball, I see him get hit, and he just does not go down. He's going to have a ton of touchdown upside as well. This is going to be an overall positive matchup. Now, A.J. Brown is going to get matched up with Xavier Rhodes, who is a tough shutdown corner who's been very, very good this year. But AJ Brown is one of those guys I think is just kind of matchup proof. There's a few guys in the league that I feel like are just matchup proof I'm not really just worried about at all, and AJ Brown is 100% one of those guys, so I'm really not too worried about that. Corey Davis on the other side is going to get a really great matchup against Rocky Sin, and Adam Humphries, who is questionable. Adam Humphries misses Khalif Raymond, is going to be in the slot against Kenny Moore, who's a pretty solid matchup as well. When you go look at A.J. Brown, he has 10 red zone targets and 4 end zone targets. Corey Davis has 8 red zone targets and 4 end zone targets. Adam Humphries has 9 red zone targets and 2 end zone targets. I do really like, I'm talking about A.J. Brown a ton, but I do really like Corey Davis as well as a flex play. This is the first game he really didn't have a lot of good targets, which was week 9, where they were playing from pretty much ahead the whole game, pretty much shutting him out until the fourth quarter. 8, 5, 6, 10, 10. He's seen a lot of targets. A.J. Brown averaging 0.25 more in a year only, so that's big. A.J. Brown's still the guy I would rather go to because I think he just has a ton more upside, but Corey Davis I absolutely love as a flex play. Whichever one play. If Humphries is out, I do like Khalif Raymond. He's like $1,000. He's really cheap. He's definitely somebody you can get into lineups because he's just going to run some routes and he's going to be out there. He could catch some balls. But if he doesn't play, if Humphries plays, Humphries is fine as well. He's cheap enough where I want to get there. He doesn't bring you a lot of high upside targets, but he's going to bring you targets, so I don't hate it. But yeah, A.J. Brown, he's just an absolute stud. I want him. He's my favorite captain of the day. I think I'd rank my captains as like A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman. But honestly, there's a real chance I only run 2 captains this week. We'll close it out with the tight ends, where we have Mo Alley-Cox and Trey Burton for the Indianapolis Colts. They're going to be going up against a Tennessee Titans defense that has a lot of pretty good amount of points to tight ends so far this year. Linebackers in Tennessee are really nothing to love. Trey Burton, so Trey Burton has 7 red zone targets and 2 end zone targets, but Trey Burton has 3 inside of 5 carries on the year. Like, that's just ridiculous, and I think he scored touchdowns on 2 of them. It might just be 2 for 2, honestly. I don't really remember the exact number, but he's getting inside of 5 carries, and he's getting touchdowns off of them. So Trey Burton, I do like a lot. He's getting a lot of usage where it matters. Mo Alley-Cox, I'm interested in because Jack Doyle is doubtful. We don't expect Jack Doyle to play, so that should bump up Trey Burton's usage. He's averaging 4.8 targets per game, and should also bump up Mo Alley-Cox's usage from about 2 targets per game to like 3 or 4. I will mention Mo Alley-Cox is also questionable. If both of them miss, man, Trey Burton's going to be looking like a great day. He'll definitely be someone as well that I like as a captain spot. And then the last 2 tight ends we're going to talk about are Anthony Firkser and Jonnu Smith. Anthony Firkser and Jonnu Smith are going to be going up against the number 1 tight end defense in the entire league, the Indianapolis Colts. Darius Leonard, absolutely elite linebacker. He might miss, though, so let's keep an eye on that. If Darius Leonard's out, that's going to be a huge bump to Jonnu and Firkser, especially Jonnu. We know he's really out there more. Firkser does have 7 red zone targets, only 1 end zone target, though, with Jonnu's 9 red zone targets to 5 end zone targets. Definitely like the usage he's getting. He's averaging 4.625 targets per game, but really ever since A.J. Brown and Corey Davis have came back, he's not seen the usage we saw at the beginning of the year. This was usage we were seeing at the beginning of the year, and ever since those guys came back, we've seen this. So it's not as encouraging, but he's still definitely in play. You look at snap percentage, which I do like to look at for tight ends a lot. You're seeing Firkser's really not on the field a ton, but he is getting some sort of usage, averaging 3.875 targets per game, so I think he's fine. I probably wouldn't want to get to a ton of him, but if Darius Leonard's out, I think that these 2 are definitely interesting plays. So, defenses, I guess I could be a little interested in the Colts. Titans defense just as bad. I don't like to play bad defenses. This game's a 49 total, so probably not gonna be a ton of defensive plays in this game. You got 2 pretty efficient offenses that don't turn the ball over a lot, so I'm probably not gonna get a ton of those. And then kickers, I think kickers are fine. I'd like to, always at most 1 kicker in every single lineup. I don't want to have 2 kickers in the lineup. But the total's not super high, and there's really not a ton of guys down there that I feel like can really outscore those kickers that much, so I think they're both in play. Wouldn't want to have a ton of exposure to them, but I do think they're both in play. I think that's really all I got to say, though. Hope you guys got some good information out of this video. Make sure to leave a like and a subscribe. Free. Helps me out a ton. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hope you guys make some money on Thursday Night Football.